Now, let's say that you have now achieved the purpose of knowing where the letter begins. Now you need to get into the letter and start reading. Now, what will guide you when reading the body of the Pauline letter? You have to understand something called the rhetorical criticism. Rhetorical criticism. Rhetorical criticism. Rhetorical criticism aims at knowing the effect of the flow of arguments by which a reader wants to be achieved in his to those people to whom he writes. The effect. Now, depending on the effect to be achieved, there are three types of rhetorics. The first one, there is so-called the judicial rhetoric. And the second one, there is deliberative rhetoric. And the third one, there is something called epideictic rhetoric. Now, the judicial rhetoric, of course, it is the language of the court. But the effect which is intended by the judicial rhetoric is that you need to prove to the audience about the righteousness or the wrongness of the past actions. Now, the form of the argumentations you have to use so as to prove that some actions were right and some actions were wrong. The forms of argumentation are two. There is a defense form of argumentation, but also there is accusation form of argumentation, whereby defending means you prove something to be right, but accusing means you prove something to be wrong, very wrong. I think you get what I talk about. That is the judicial rhetoric. There is also the so-called the deliberative rhetoric. This deliberative rhetoric aims at deliberative rhetoric aims at speaking about the future, deciding for people what to do in the future and what to do in the future. This is the aim of deliberative rhetoric. What to do and not to do in the future. And so the forms of argumentations are two. There is the persuasive form of argumentation, by which one who is persuaded is being encouraged to do something in the future. But also there is something called the dissuasive form of argumentation, where someone is being dissuaded or is being prevented from acting in a certain way in the future. And also there is something called epideictic rhetoric, which aims at celebrating the values. So now, after having known those types of rhetorics, the question comes, how do you apply them to the Pauline letters? Well, the application to the Pauline letters means that you look closely at these rhetorics and you say that, no, this Pauline letter, maybe to the Colossians or Galatians or Corinthians, has used the following type of rhetoric. That's what you have to say in your mind. But now, when you apply them to the Pauline letter, you see that, these were applied by Paul, but Paul was actually a bit specific in applying them. For instance, there are some letters which are parenetical, there are some letters which are apologetic, self-commendation, there are some letters which are deliberative, and so forth and so forth. Of course, and among the scholars who have made a contribution in this purpose which you're talking about, the purpose of looking at how the Pauline letters have used the rhetoric, this person called Hans Dieter Betz, this person has studied about rhetorics, and then he has come up to say that he has come to see how it has been applied in the Pauline letters, specifically to the letter to the Galatians. And they say that the letter to the Galatians, well, it's a judicial rhetoric. Well, some people have accepted that fact, but others haven't accepted that fact, because the letter to the Galatians, though said to be judicial rhetoric, it seems that it includes also some parts which are parenetical, some parts which are aimed at exhortation, So in the judicial court, you don't expect rhetorics, you don't expect exhortations. And also, we are told that if Paul, in this letter, Paul did not secure the goodwill of the Galatians, he used the harsh words. Now, the use of harsh words implies that Paul did not use this judicial rhetoric in writing this letter. And also, Hans database does not give us the model, exemplary model for us to affirm that if we take this model and compare it with the Galatians, we say that, oh, exactly, now this Hans we say Paul has used the judicial rhetoric. No, there is no model. And of course, another point that looking closely at these suggestions of Hans database, it seems Hans database does not consider the Jewish background of Paul. And so it speaks a lot about the Greco-Roman influence on Paul, without even considering about the issues which are raised from the Jewish background. Of course, some people, having proved the weakness of that mode of Hans database, have said that the letter to the Galatians is the deliberative rhetoric, deliberative apologetic, whereby Paul, on directing the Galatians to the future, tell them that, or encourage them to return to his gospel, the gospel preached to them. And also, it is very important to speak about the genres when looking in the body of Pauline letters, because they will show you the overall emphasis. As you can see, when we know that the letter is deliberative rhetoric, we know that exactly the emphasis of Paul is on the future. And you can see directly the theme which is going to be the main target of Paul. Thank you for watching. I will see you in the next move.